Yeah, start.
Okay, so good afternoon. Today is January 18th and it's 2:56. I'm gonna ask questions to Mr. Francois. So, Mr. Francois, can you give me a little background about yourself?
So I am from Haiti. I was born and raised there, came to the United States when I was 10. Went to public school all my life, went to CUNY and the SUNY system. And I went to, my first college was actually in Chicago. Well, Illinois, not Chicago.
How was it to learn in there in Chicago?
It was cool. I didn't spend much time there. I only spent about like one semester there, but it was interesting. The demographics was pretty different from what I'm used to. So it was a little difficult my first year, I would say, because a lot of the kids, they come from schools where they learn so much. And I came from a school where it was just like normal public school in Brooklyn, so I had to do a lot of catch up.
So, first question, who inspired you to cook? Because you told me before that you know how to cook foods of your culture, so who inspired you to cook?
Like, to be honest, growing up, living in Haiti, I've always like watched whoever was in charge of cooking at my house. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason I was always like over their shoulder watching what people put in the food. And I think it's because I was greedy, not because like, I was just like, you know, I always want to see what they cooking. So that way I just started cooking. And going away from college, for college actually made me actually want to start cooking because I was by myself. So I had to feed myself, so I started cooking. So I wouldn't say like it's an inspiration. It was just like, I just felt like it was just something I had to learn how to do.
Okay. You said you watch people cook. Who was it that you watched?
I had a lady that was working at my house when I was probably like 5. I watched her cook. Watched my mom cook, my grandmother, my sisters. I grew up with mostly women in the house. I don't have any brothers. So I grew up with my mom, my 2 sisters, my grandmother, and my so I've watched them cook all the time. So I pick up some skills from them.
So, at what age did you start learning how to cook?
I would say 10. Like I've watched people when I was younger than 10, but I would say when I actually started to actually cook myself, I was 10.
Can I know more about the food recipes you learned how to cook? Like, were they passed down, or were they just like common food recipes? Like, how did your mom, grandma, and sisters learn these recipes?
So it's pretty interesting. I don't think, like in the Haitian culture, I feel like we all kind of like know the recipe to make something. Like, for example, like one of the dish that we actually make for breakfast is spaghetti, but most people will call it Haitian spaghetti because we make it different than everyone else. I would say every single Haitian, whether you were born in Haiti or not, is one of the things you actually know how to do. It's not passed down, but I would say it's passed down there, you know. But it's not like particularly, I would say there's a written recipe. It's like, hey, here, we're gonna write this recipe down, we're gonna pass it down. I just feel like it's a cultural knowledge on how to cook our cultural food. So it's not like family to family has a different recipe. It's more like the recipe is passed down to the culture. I'll say.
Very interesting. Let's see. So, due to the history of this recipe, have the ingredients changed over time?
Yes, I can honestly say, because you gotta understand, there's Haitians living here and there's Haitians in Haiti. So here we could Americanize the recipe where we make it closer to like what American cuisine would look like or what tastes like. But it's still kind of like, I would say, it still tastes like Haitian food, but we would put our own twist to it. Like some ingredients that we find here in the United States that you wouldn't find in Haiti, we would kind of like replace some of the ingredients. So,
can you give an example of what ingredient you would add to change it a bit?
all right, so for example, in Haiti, like let's just say rice, right? If I'm making rice in Haiti, I actually have to take a coconut and like scrape it and get the coconut juice, right? To put as the water for the rice, right? But here in the United States, because you don't have access to actual coconut, so we'll go to the supermarket and get like coconut milk and just like mix it with that instead of like the actual coconut. So there are some recipes we would change. Like for example, I'll say tomato Maggi. We have like the actual Maggi. And here there's a flavor Maggi that we have in Haiti that I do not have. So we'll replace it with like Sazon, like the mixture.
Yeah.
So we'll replace with that instead of like the actual Maggi that we have.
Let's see. When anyone makes this recipe, does everybody make it the same way, or does it fit their own? Oh wait, you haven't really answered. Sorry. Let's see. What is the best part of cooking this type of food?
I'll say the smell of it.
The smell.
Like even before you eat it, like the smell, like you will know, like okay, it's Haitian spaghetti we made here, you know. So it's a pretty distinct smell where you can smell all the ingredients, like the peppers, the onions, like everything all at once. So that's what I enjoy about it.
Let's see. What are some cooking techniques and tools that you use or that you have adopted?
So boiling the spaghetti, I learned a trick that if you leave, because usually when spaghetti is boiling, the water will spill over. So I learned this trick: if you put a wooden spoon on top of the pot, the water doesn't spill over. I don't know why, but I've learned that trick and I've been using it. It works like magic.
Where did you learn this trick from?
I don't know. I just thought, wait, I saw someone do it actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually went to someone's house one time and I saw them cooking. And then they're like, oh, the spaghetti's boiling over. And then they put the wooden spoon and it didn't spill over. I was like, why you do that? I was like, oh, it don't spill over. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna start doing that. And I started doing it. They probably learned from like TikToks.
Oh.
They probably did. I don't know.
Is there a specific food that you make on holidays?
Drinks, but not food. Cause like we could cook anything we want any day.
Yeah.
You know, like it depends on you going all out, right? For example, I know like my fiance's house, her mother makes like a whole food meal every Sunday with like pasta, salad, rice, like different type of like chicken, pork, and everything. But I wouldn't say like it's it's not about different dish you make, it's how much food you make. So on holidays you will make more. So instead of having like one choice for like meat, we'll probably have like 4 or 5 different options for meat. So we have more food, but it's not different food. It's not like a special, or this is for the holiday. But I'll say drinks, yes. Because we have kind of like Hispanics have like coquito.
Oh yeah.
Right? We have a version of coquito, but I could honestly say ours don't taste nothing like milk.
Oh.
Yes.
I just tried coquito like a few like 1 month ago because in my job somebody brought coquito and it tasted very good.
Yeah. So ours is amazing, but from the coquito I taste some milk into it, but ours don't have milk taste. It's pretty flavored.
Let's see. Why is it important to maintain your food traditions?
Because I love to eat my culture's food. I think it's very important. And it's interesting because I forgot who I was talking to. I think it was a colleague of mine, a classmate, I forgot. But I was telling them how like I dated other like nationalities, but because of how much I love my culture's food, I had to come back home. And he was like, that's the only reason? I'm like, yeah. Like that's really the only reason why I feel like I need to date somebody that's from my country.
So like, do you feel like it's a part of your identity?
Yes, I eat Haitian food every day.
Wow.
Even though I eat other nationalities' food, but I eat Haitian food.
Haitian food, what's your
I actually just ate like Haitian food just now before.
Oh, what did you eat?
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
And just I love spaghetti.
So how do these meals represent?
I think it's just the story behind it. Like if you think of like Haitian cuisine is a mixture of like African, European, because of like the island of how it was conquered, right? It was controlled by others. So like even through our food, you can see the history of our food, right? You'll see the West African out of it. You'll see the European out of it. So it's like the mixture within our food itself. There's so much history of it. So I think that's what I saw.
So do you have a special memory with a meal or food?
not special memory, but a scary memory. I had red snapper one time in Haiti.
What is red snapper?
It's
What
a
is
fish.
it? Oh.
But we cook it like with the whole bones, and you get the whole fish. Everyone would get like a full whole fish. So me being greedy, I just started eating, and a bone was stuck in my throat for at least 4 hours, and I was like struggling because it kept poking me, and I was bleeding. And, like I really thought I was gonna die, but I didn't. All you have to do is just eat a piece of bread, and the bone gets stuck in a piece of bread somehow, and it'll go down.
You talked a lot about spaghetti, so what is the food that you mostly make in Haitian culture?
Rice and beans. Dia sauce pois, right, which is also rice and beans, but it's a different version. So there's rice and beans where you cook the rice with the beans, and there's rice and beans where you cook the rice separately, white rice, and then you make a bean sauce, which is what we call a dia sauce pois, right? So we have Vicot, which is rice and beans, and dia sauce pois is rice and beans also, but that's how we separate them. One is called Vicot, one is called dia sauce pois.
Interesting. So how did the environment, like the Haitian geography, like the area they lived in, how did that impact the meals, like the things they had to make the foods?
So it impacts a lot because like we so used to fresh products, right? Especially on the countryside. When I went to the countryside to visit like relatives, everything is fresh. Like you need this ingredient for the food, it's fresh. You need this, it's fresh. So like I think having farms in the countryside like influenced the food a lot because like we are so used to making our food fresh. Like we don't like most Haitians I know doesn't eat leftovers because they cook every day. So because we have access to so much ingredients, we always like our food fresh. So because of that, a lot of Haitians, even here in the United States, we cook every day. Like we
Cook every day.
Yeah,
You don't eat
it's a
like
different meal every day. You don't eat leftovers. So you cook for, if you have 10 people in your house, somehow whoever's cooking the measurement for 10 people. Yeah, it's amazing. They know how many cups of rice they need to put for exactly.
It sounds like my mom, like, recently since my siblings are growing up and they eat more, she knows the exact measurement of how much rice she needs to make now instead of before when they were little.
Yeah, so she, like, no food goes to
Yeah.
waste.
Do you have any passed down recipes?
Not that I can think of. Maybe for like juice or something. Because we make iced tea, and there's a specific recipe for the iced tea we make. So maybe an iced tea. I could think of there's a specific recipe for it. But everything else is
I see.
iced tea.
Iced
It's
tea.
like lemonade. We make
Oh, yeah.
like for like every dinner. So we put like essence, we put like turmeric, we put lemon, like different kind of lemon, and we put lime together. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Would you willingly share your recipes with, like, I work in mind builder, so I'm mostly like sharing recipes, talking about food culture and so on. So are you willing to share these recipes?
Yes, I could definitely bring a couple of recipes.